This news program is proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Now Biscuits.
United Nations highlights ramifications for the massacre in Enga province. Governor Bird condemns state failure in providing security. And Puma Energy flags shortage in fuel supply. A very good evening. This is National EMTV News. I'm Malcolm Waira. Thank you for joining us. UN Resident Coordinator Richard Howard said potential investors and tourists might not consider Papua New Guinea as a safe place after the news on the massacre in Enga province.
UN Resident Coordinator stressed that these ongoing law and order issues with mass killing might scare the investors and tourists coming into PNG.
Most disappointing is that when things like this happen, people look at the country in a different way. So potential investors may look and say, oh, this is not a country where we want to put our money, where we want to take risks and invest in the long term. So that will hurt many people across the country. And for tourism, the potential for tourism is so great in Papua New Guinea. And yet when people see these images, that strongly hurts these efforts to build that industry and to create jobs and improve lives of people across the country.
The United Nations in PNG stands ready to support the government of PNG in addressing its long-standing issues with an ever-increasing illicit flow of arms, says the UN Resident Coordinator.
What this shows us more than anything else is that the influx of factory-made weapons into the highlands is completely exacerbated or intensified the danger and the violence that we see. So the issue of small arms is something that the UN must support the government to understand the flow of weapons, how these weapons are financed, what is the distribution, where do they come from, and what steps can we take to reduce the presence and the impact of small arms across the country.
He says they remain committed to assist the government in eliminating tribal violence and bring lasting peace in the highlands.
As soon as possible, to understand the impact and to see firsthand what are the opportunities, what are the channels that we can intensify our peace-building support in the province of Enga.
The United Nations in Papua New Guinea strongly condemns the killing of over 50 people in Wapenamanda Enga province and calls for an immediate end of violence and possible retaliation following the killings. Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
Representing all women in Papua New Guinea, women leaders from respective women associations in the country came together today in condemning the massacre in Enga province.
Expressing a sympathy to the families of those who were massacred in Enga, the founder of Women in Politics in PNG, Dorothy Tekwa, said the Enga massacre is a national crisis and called on the government for accountability. She said PNG must not take tribal fights as a norm.
Over 40 years, we've had prime ministers. We've had many police commissioners. We've had many MPs. We've had many opposition leaders. Let us not blame tribal fights. Let's not say it's normal for them.
Anne Ewago, a concerned mother amongst the women leaders, said such massacre will prevent necessary services to come into the province. She said the laws at all levels of the government must be followed to avoid violence in the country.
People are landlord boss, people need medical staff, educationists, teachers, public servants. Lo calm down, lo mipla. Time this like violence and stop. Services will not reach us. Another way of Ipla killing Ipla.
Barbara Toya Komainde, an advocate for women empowerment and social justice, highlighted that the cycle of violence will continue with the children left from the massacre. Hence, highlighted the importance of early childhood program in the country.
The very sad legacy that is going to be left behind, as an example of what has happened in Wapenamanda, is the pressure that will be put on mothers. Most of these mothers are widows. all struggle lo lukotim family blongol antable disla all ba struggle lo lukotim all young people beginning all young people widow who are left now because of this massacre.
The advocates for women empowerment and social justice highlighted that peace is the foundation for development and progress for a country. Malinta Yopolo, National EMTV News.
With the brutal violence in Wapanamanda and ongoing concern, Provincial Member for Enga, Sir Peter Ibatas, emphasized on the floor of Parliament that leaders are doing all they can to enable education in hopes to change the mindset of the people. But the people should also make responsible decisions.
Talk sabelo people every time. Work blo leader and talk. You know long Karim gun blo police gonna stop and walk. But people blo enga time got this law opportunity me talk clear. Or some more leader blo you mean work blo from the local level government up to the national level. Talk lo only no can fight. Enga in last place. Give him school. Put him up in school where future belong only guaranteed. That's a plenty time. You mean you can blame the government, that's all? Plenty time. Responsibility is established yet. So some citizens blowing a mill talk sabe fighting him, but then you go fight him blowing that.
The members of the opposition expressed disappointment today, stating their parliament has been hijacked as the due process of the vote of no confidence was not followed and slammed the changes made to the country's constitution.
The members of the opposition in a news conference expressed disparity towards the manner in which the parliament handled its business for today's sitting, stating that the parliament has been hijacked as the government deliberately buried the vote of no confidence that was supposed to be the priority business for today. Speaking on behalf of the opposition, Sinisini Yongumug member Kerenga Kua further elaborated.
And according to the standing orders of the parliament, it's supposed to be the priority business today. We deal with, according to the standing orders, all private business matters are dealt with on Thursdays, which is today. So we were supposed to have dealt with the fate of that notice decisively today. Clearly, the private business committee met yesterday, as the speaker has alluded to. They made a decision yesterday, but the speaker refused to disclose the reason for a decision to defer, for a decision not to put it on the notice paper today. It's supposed to be on the notice paper today.
Kua further labeled this as an act of constitutional sabotage when this vote of no confidence is deferred for another 3 months. Mr. Kua explained that this can be battled in court, but they were not properly informed as the speaker refused to give information.
And the speaker said he's going to give his reason to the mover of the motion at some future date, unspecified date. I think that's a sabotage of a constitutional process, a very serious sabotage. And what they're going to do this afternoon, or maybe tomorrow, is to adjourn the parliament for 3 months. Already adjourned. Okay. Yeah, I did not hear that because there's a lot of noise there. So.
Sharing the same sentiment, the Vainimo Green MP Belden Nama stated that what has transpired is the hijacking of the parliament process and the constitution of the country, and calls on the Prime Minister to not interfere with the process of parliament.
Of the parliamentary procedures and the constitution of our country. Prime Minister challenged the opposition to bring the numbers to the floor of parliament. Governor for Ella, Wundialo, challenged the opposition to bring the numbers to the floor of parliament. We brought the number to the floor of parliament, the people of Papua New Guinea, with a motion. That's our number. Prime Minister should not interfere with the process of parliament.
Sharon Engnui, National EMTV News.
Prime Minister James Marape revealed in a newspaper article that the government will amend Section 145 of the Constitution on the motions on the vote of no confidence. Following the Prime Minister's statement, PNG Trade Union Congress, in an exclusive interview, condemned this move, describing the proposed amendment as undemocratic.
I'm not wrong, if my memory is not failing me.
PM Marape stated that the proposed amendment would insert a subsection allowing for a restart to the 18-month grace period should a motion of no confidence fail. Marape also stated this will not affect the VONG if successful after first 18 months. If it fails, another attempt for a VONG will not take place unless after 18 months from when the first was made. PNG TUC Assistant General Secretary Anton Sekum condemned this move by PM Marape, stating that VONGs are part of a critical system of checks and balances in a democracy.
But let this serve as a warning to those who intend to manipulate the Constitution to grapple onto power or to serve their own interest or minorities' interest. The Constitution is here that makes us a country, and it's here for the people, by the people, and of the people.
In support of Mr. Sekum's statement, President of NCD Workers Union Matthew Bai stated that as legislators, members of parliament are there to make good laws and policies for all people.
It's not right for leaders to come up to passing bills and amending laws as they please. They're not writing policies to go back. The policies must reflect back to the standard how our people live back in the villages, in the rural areas and the urban settings.
PNG Banks and Financial Institutions Workers Union National President Kili Sapu also affirmed statements made by Mr. Sekum and Mr. Bai.
The trend in which this government is changing policy, creating laws, ministries, it seems as though the interests of the people are now not an interest. The people who have mandated government leaders to be in power to represent their interests, those people have been forgotten.
A notice of this alteration by the Prime Minister has been published in the National Gazette, and Clerk of Parliament Kala Alpha confirmed receipt of the notice from the government to table amendment in Parliament. Francisca Anania, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. PNG as a state has failed to provide security to its citizens, and what has transpired in Wapanamanda, Enga province recently is a testament to that. This was expressed by the provincial member for East Sepik Province, Alan Bird, on the floor of Parliament.
Expressing grief for the violence in Enga province, Bird mentioned an important aspect of an independent state.
Suppose you call him yet or some independent state, then you need to bring him all the power of state ikam, bung him na bayinapim long, banisim all people blow you lokai nebi.
Sympathizing with the provincial member for Enga, Sepita Ipatas, Bird reiterated that the call to address violence has always been the plea of provincial members.
People governors, me play making planting neck, planting out. Me play asking lo halibim. No God looks away I come. Now this la big play heavy come up. Now you me to some you me kirap no good. Oh how na something come up. That's all the sign long is stopping this.
Bird said the failure to provide security for citizens is the first trait of a failed state.
I'm worried simply because if you look at the definition of what constitutes a failed state, we tick most of the boxes right now.
Elaborating on the definition of a failed state, Bird expressed that PNG already ticks off several attributes of one, with the first being the inability to provide security for its citizens. Meanwhile, the provincial member for Isipik province urged this.
Every state reserves the right to the use of force in the protection of its citizens. It is an inherent right of every nation. Why isn't Papua New Guinea using that right?
Natasha Voy, National EMTV News.
Member for Rabaul Open, Dr. Alan Marat, has raised concerns on the floor of Parliament on what the government's plans are to increase state land through compulsory land acquisition as state land becomes increasingly scarce in the country.
Alan Marat said as the remainder of the available state land around the country is taken up by development, it presents the need for the state to acquire more land. Hence, Dr. Marat asked the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Lands and Physical Planning, John Rosso, if there are provisions under the Lands Act that would allow the state to acquire more land through compulsory land acquisition.
Whether certain provisions in the Land Act, especially in relation to compulsory acquisition, and especially the definition of public purpose, whether that could be redefined so that the Lands Department, along with, say, the district, can work together to acquire, compulsorily acquire from customary landowners.
In response, Rosso agreed that there is currently a shortage of state land in the country as 96% of land is customary owned. However, the law does cater for the state to acquire more land.
To his pertinent question of increasing state land in surrounding areas like Rabaul, for example, and other urban areas, yes, we have provisions for that under the Land Act. That is called either compulsory acquisition or where customary landowners can get together and sell their land to the government for means of development or for means of growth in the urban areas or for government purposes.
The Deputy Prime Minister said the government has budgeted 150 million kina for land acquisition, and they are working to increase state land in the main centers around the country.
We are currently working on trying to free up a lot more of this land through either ways of compulsory acquisition or working together with our customary landowners to increase some parts of our land and make it more. There should be more land available through compulsory acquisition. And to his
Edson Kuso, National EMTV News.
Few days before the third anniversary of the founding father of the nation, late Grand Chief Sir Michael Thomas Somare, who passed on in 2021, government gazetted the date February 26th as a public holiday in remembrance of the founding father. This week, Australian High Commissioner to PNG, His Excellency John Fix, visited the province to pay his respect and laying of wreaths.
The Australian delegation was given a rousing welcome upon arrival at the Boram Airport by public servants and a traditional Sing Sing group from Angoram district. The Somare siblings were there to receive the Australian High Commissioner John Fix, who visited the resting place of the late Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare at Via Kria Heights in Wewak, signing the visitors' book, paying tributes and laying wreaths in honor to the great leader of this nation.
I'd like to start by just saying how honoured I am to be in Wewak and to be here this morning to pay my respects to the late Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare. As you know, he was PNG's founding father and an iconic figure for many Australians as well as obviously for Papua New Guinea.
The visit to the province as the High Commissioner of Australia came about in time when the province is gearing up to celebrate the third anniversary of the passing of the father of the nation, and based on the bilateral ties late Sir Michael Somare had with Australia some decades ago. This visit was followed by the first visit by the Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese on the 13th of January 2023. Meanwhile, the Department of Personnel Management issued a memo notifying public servants and the general public that next week, Monday, the 26th of February 2024, is a public holiday in remembrance of the late Grand Chief Sir Michael Thomas Somare. Tamara Agavi, National EMTV News.
Following its previous statement on the 16th of February 2024, Puma Energy PNG has released another media statement informing the Civil Aviation Authority of Papua New Guinea that Puma Energy has no capacity to replenish Jet A1 stocks in PNG. Despite Air Niugini's temporary injunctive court order to continue fuel supply by Puma Energy PNG, this will only be effective until local stocks run out.
The estimated fuel stock remaining at Jackson's International Airport, the largest user of aviation fuel, will only last for 4 days, and this includes stock to meet emergency requirements. Puma is striving to make Jet A1 available in PNG to provide security supply. However, at the moment, the only avenue for fuel supply is for Air Niugini and other airlines to directly contract with Puma Energy's foreign supplier, while Puma will set a contract to facilitate storage and logistics for the aviation fuel. Puma is appealing to Air Niugini, its bankers and authorities, including the Bank of Papua New Guinea, to reach a solution to substantially mitigate impacts of a full stock out. Francisca Anania, National EMTV News.
The New Ireland Provincial Government's business arm, New Ireland Development Corporation, has entered into a joint venture investment agreement worth 10 million kina with Aero Trading in New Ireland Province. This business investment is set to develop and rebuild new international standards wholesale and retail supermarket complex in Keveng Town in New Ireland Province. The construction of the 2-story wholesale and supermarket complex will commence within the next 2 months, starting with the dismantling of the existing structure that has been an iconic landmark of Keveng wholesale and supermarket business during the colonial era before independence. Under the joint venture shareholding arrangement, NIDC has acquired 20% free equity with the option to acquire 10%, while the operation and management of the business will remain with Aero Trading. Prime Minister James Marape has announced to the floor of Parliament that the first gold pour for Porgera Gold Mine will take place tomorrow, Friday.
This week, Friday, I'm invited to go to Porgera for the first ever gold pour. First ever gold pour. Today, under a better benefit sharing arrangement that is far better than Lihir, far better than any other resource project ever negotiated. Porgera Gold, for the first time, will be poured this week, Friday, first gold poured. When the earnings from these resources come back into a country, Kina will then appreciate its natural place.
Now we take a look at the NAS Farm Market Report. The kina closed unchanged at $0.2663 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.2588 $0.3922 Australian dollars, 0.2316 euro, 38.57 Japanese yen. Looking at the commodity prices, at New York closed, gold is trading lower, coffee closed higher, cocoa closed higher, copper closed higher, palm oil closed lower, crude oil is trading lower, copper closed higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, the S&P 200 is trading lower, the All Ordinaries is trading higher. National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. Health Minister Dr. Lino Tom calls for a good government system with an effective functional board under the Provincial Health Authority for a positive outcome in the health system. This call was made today during the NCD Provincial Health Authority Board swearing-in ceremony.
During the swearing-in of NCD Provincial Health Authority Board, the Health Minister challenged them to work in a way that will address the health issues faced in the city. When congratulating the new board, Minister Tom also stressed the importance of working in partnership with the local leaders. The new chairman of the board, Daniel Waswas, encouraged the board members to shift their mindset for effective health service delivery. The new board members were challenged to give their best for a better health system in the nation's capital going forward. Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
Acting Governor General, His Excellency Job Pomat, executed on behalf of the state employment contracts for senior public servants as heads of departments and government statutory organizations. The senior public servants are Tyus Sansan, reappointed as Secretary for the Department of Personnel Management for 4 years, Dr. Sergey Bang as the Secretary for the Department of Agriculture and Livestock for 4 years, effective on the 29th of September. Philip Leo as the Secretary for the Department of Local Level Government Affairs for 4 years, David Manau, Secretary for the Department for Petroleum for 4 years, Joe Itaki, Director General for the National Youth Development Authority for another 4 years, Dr. William Pomat as the Director for PNG IMR for 4 years, and Dr. Nelson Simbiken as the Director General for NARI for 3 years. The appointment of the senior public servants was done by the National Executive Council and stipulated in the National Gazette. National EMTV News continues after the break with Trukai Sports. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. PNG's major food manufacturing company, Paradise Foods Limited, has been supporting AFL PNG development programs in the country.
Paradise Foods Limited Interim Sponsorship and Promotions Coordinator Venita Martin says, through the partnership with AFL PNG, the Smart Start New Kick program advocates on healthy living, developing mindsets and help kids focus on their goals.
We engage through these times during activities by doing our corporate social responsibilities as a business, in supporting communities, schools and churches and more.
Martin said Paradise Foods Limited has been the major sponsor of the Smart Start New Kick program and will continue to support the program.
With the help of our AFL PNG, we promote our brand Smart Start, which is our nutritious biscuit, to reach out to our communities and schools back in the villages and rural areas.
International Development Manager Ben Drew thanked Paradise Foods Limited for their support.
Paradise Foods are a wonderful partner and sponsor of AFL PNG through the Smart Start New Kick program. We're coming into our 7th year in partnership with Paradise Foods, and we're looking forward to many, many years to come. We've got great support through the Australian Government, through the Pacific Oz Sports program and the Team Up program through the Pillar Long Senis. And that program's run in partnership with the PNG Tribal Foundation.
Jonathan Sibona, Trukai Sports.
Papua New Guinea is the largest participating country in the AFL development programs outside of Australia. This was revealed by the AFL Head of Participation International, James Keeley, today.
Speaking exclusively with this newsroom, Seeley says PNG has been doing really well in the programs over the past years.
PNG is a fantastic contribution to our broader international work. It's one of our largest participation areas outside of Australia. So it's great to be here, great to see the team and hear about all the good work that we're doing in Papua New Guinea.
He further stated that one of the main goals is to grow, identify and develop talents to further their career abroad.
Two main things. One is around participation. We do want to see more boys and girls playing our game, whether it be in the school or in the community. And then the second one is around our talent. We want to identify some talented players, get them into our squads and our academies, train them up, and then provide them opportunities to continue to progress.
Jonathan Sibona, Trukai Sports.
That ends Trukai Sports. The Morning Plus weather report is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Sky Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
The weather forecast for the next 24 hours. For the southern region, Port Moresby City, cloudy with some showers. Darrow, partly cloudy with few showers. Kerama, cloudy with few showers. Alotau, cloudy periods with some showers. Popondetta, rain at times. To the Momasa region, Lay City, cloudy with few showers. Medang, cloudy with rain showers and possible thunderstorms. Wewak, partly cloudy with few showers. Vanimo, cloudy with some showers. To the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau, partly cloudy with some showers and possible thunderstorms. Keviang, cloudy with few showers. Kokopon Rabaul, partly cloudy with few showers possible. Kimbe, cloudy with some showers. Buka, cloudy with few showers. To the Highlands region, Mount Hagen City, cloudy with some showers and possible thunderstorms. Goroka, Bans and Kondiawa, some showers with possible thunderstorms. Mendi, Tari and Wabeg, some showers and possible thunderstorms.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Thursday, the 22nd of February, 2024. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.